Welcome to Dark Facts. Tonight, an old lamp, an innocent cleaning, and a nightmare unleashed. Prepare for Tariq's chilling story.
My name is Tariq, and I have a weakness for things others throw away. As a history student in London, I spend my weekends in dusty antique shops, searching for forgotten treasures. One rainy Saturday, tucked away in a grimy back alley shop, I found it, an old brass lamp. It was heavy and tarnished, but covered in intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and shift in the dim light. I bought it for a few pounds and took it home.
That night, I sat down to clean my new find. As I rubbed away decades of grime with a soft cloth, I heard a sound. It was a faint whisper, like the rustle of dry leaves, and it seemed to come from the lamp itself. I stopped, listening, but there was only the sound of the rain against my window. Shaking my head, I put the lamp on the mantelpiece and went to bed, only to be plagued by unsettling dreams of endless desert sands under a scorching sun.
The whispers didn't stop. In the quiet moments, when I was alone in my flat, I would hear them. They would sigh my name, Tariq, from the corners of the room. Shadows would stretch into unnatural shapes at the edge of my vision. A book would tumble from a shelf with no one near it. A constant, chilling feeling of being watched settled over me. I was terrified. I finally broke down and told my friend Ben. He listened patiently, a skeptical look on his face, until I showed him the lamp. "It's coming from this," I insisted. He reached out and touched the cool brass. Instantly, the air in the room grew icy cold, and a low, guttural whisper echoed around us. "Mine." Ben snatched his hand back, his face pale with shock. He believed me.
Ben's grandfather had collected Middle Eastern artifacts, and he recognized the symbols on the lamp. He pulled out one of the old, leather-bound books. "These aren't decorations, Tariq," he said, his voice trembling. "They're warnings, binding runes. This isn't a genie's lamp. It's a prison for a Jinn, a creature of smokeless fire. And by cleaning it, you've been scraping away the lock."
The Jinn's presence grew stronger. It fed on my fear, projecting terrifying visions into my mind. I'd catch a glimpse of my reflection in a window and see a gaunt, skeletal face with burning embers for eyes smiling back at me. The whispers were clearer now, no longer just my name, but promises of untold power if I would only let it out, followed by threats of eternal torment if I refused. Ben found a passage in his grandfather's journal describing a ritual to reinforce the lamp's binding. As we gathered salt and candles, the flat descended into chaos. The lights flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. A furious wind rattled the windows, and the Jinn's voice, now a booming roar, mocked our pathetic attempts to resist it. At the stroke of midnight, a thick, black smoke began to pour from the lamp's spout. It coiled in the center of our salt circle, rising into a towering, vaguely humanoid shape that shimmered and shifted. It had no face, but we could feel its ancient, malevolent gaze upon us, a pressure so intense it felt like we were drowning. Ben stood his ground, shouting the ancient words from the journal. The Jinn shrieked, a sound so piercing that cracks spiderwebbed across the window panes. The smoky form lunged, but slammed against an invisible barrier at the edge of the salt circle, which flared with brilliant white light. Seeing my chance, I grabbed the lamp and added my voice to the chant, pouring all my fear and desperation into the words. With a final, soul-shattering roar, the smoky column collapsed in on itself and was violently sucked back into the lamp's spout. An unnerving silence fell. The lamp clattered to the floor, suddenly cold and inert. The next day, we encased it in a block of concrete and dropped it into the deepest part of the Thames. I know it's not gone forever. Some nights, when the wind howls around my building, I can still hear a faint, furious whisper on the air, calling my name.
If you dared to follow Tariq's terrifying tale like this video, subscribe to Dark Facts and hit the bell for more. Stay curious, stay safe.